what has worked for you? Because I know you've shown up in a fun way on social media. And so just let's talk about that a little bit.
So at the beginning, it was just really about consistency of posting every day or as much as possible, or what I was doing, whether it's I'm posting about going to an open house, I'm posting obviously just listed, just sold, things of that nature. But what I've learned through my coaching is how you set up your Instagram or all your social media so that people can find you. They know who you are, they know what you're doing, and really thinking about the content you're putting out there. What is the brand? What is your message? I open all of my videos with something that I kind of coin as like my catchphrase. It's a great day in the Tampa Bay.
Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome to Tampa Bay Unlocked, the podcast where we dive into the dynamic world of real estate and business in the vibrant Tampa Bay area. Join us as we sit down with top agents and industry leaders who share their insights, strategies, and stories of success. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, our interviews will unlock the secrets to thriving in one of Florida's hottest markets. Get ready to be inspired, informed, and motivated by the experts shaping the future of Tampa Bay. Tune in and let's unlock the wisdom from our next guest. I have Alex Clark, the infamous. He's a rising star in the area, has blown the market out of the waters, and he's done almost, we'll say it, just about $7 million so far this year, and the year's not over yet.
Exactly.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank
welcome
you.
to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited because you have come out of the gates steaming hot.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm definitely trying. I came into this business very optimistic and just excited. I had come from corporate retail where I was, battered and angry and just distraught from corporate America and all the life it sucks out of you. And so getting into real estate was a huge transition for myself. And I had high goals, high expectations, and it's been a fun ride.
You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell. I've been fortunate enough to have some conversations with you offline, and you know your numbers better than 99.9% of most agents, and you've shown up that way. And I think I know it's one of the many reasons you're succeeding. And I want to dive into all that. But first off, how you doing? How'd you make out during the storms?
I was incredibly lucky. I do live in a flood zone, basically right off the Tampa Bay. The only thing between my house and the Tampa Bay is a mangrove forest. So during Helene, it was actually the first time that my neighborhood had water come down the streets, up the driveways, and it was very scary, for sure. And it was a wake-up call. For me, I've lived in Florida 6.5 years, and this was the first time I was like, oh shit, we need to take this seriously. So obviously right after Helene, I went into disaster recovery mode, trying to help as many people as possible, specifically in Shore Acres and Riviera Bay, taking people food, doing their laundry, taking Gatorade and cleaning supplies out to these neighborhoods where it's truly, you drive through and it's like a war zone. Every single house is just completely decimated. Entire lives are out on their front lawns. And it was really, really hard to see that, but also incredible to see the community and the residents come together to support each other.
That's what I've been saying.
Obviously, Hurricane Milton hit 13 days later. And leading up to Milton, they were predicting 10 to 15 foot storm surge, which would have put my first floor underwater. So I was like, we got to get the hell out of Dodge. And so we really took it seriously. I moved everything from my first floor up to the second floor, and then we evacuated. We listened to, the government warnings of if you're in evacuation zones, you need to get out. I was like, trust and believe, we're going. Luckily, I have a sister up in Wesley Chapel, so, she's an hour northeast, high and dry. We went up there, and we were truly blessed to come home to no water in the house. We were completely fine, so we got helping the community.
We fared better than we thought with Milton, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially back to back. October, I joke lightly and say, October was a crazy week.
Yes.
Because it felt like it, right?
It felt like a week, but also felt like 6 months.
Right.
It was. Yeah. I have no sense of time. No, I don't know what day it is.
And being in the industry, how people just need help, want to know what direction. It's like we're all facing this new thing together.
Absolutely.
It's been very bizarre.
Absolutely.
But I love to hear that you're out helping, and that's the coolest thing I think that you saw is how the community's came together. You know, it was
Yes.
like everyone's like in this together. We're gonna help. I mean, the amount of agents that showed up, just anyone people that just showed up to help from all different walks of life was really really cool.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad to hear that you fared well, and now obviously our landscape has changed a little bit as we help people. But let's go back. So how long have you been in the industry?
About 27 months.
20. Look at this. When I say this guy knows his numbers, I mean he knows his numbers.
Yeah,
27 months
Yes.
and counting.
In counting. Yes. Yes.
And would you say that this is the most aligned you've ever felt in your professional career?
Absolutely. 100%. Like I truly wake up every day feeling like, oh my gosh, I was made for this. I truly feel like this is my quote unquote dream job, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Well, dream career. I mean, you're treating this thing like a business. You're always investing in yourself, wanting to grow, want to get better, and it shows. So, I mean, let's go back 27 months. You're a brand new licensed agent. You don't know left from right.
Yes.
You know, we have a lot of new agents that listen to the show. So, if you could go back 27 months, I love that you have that number, and give yourself advice, what would you say?
I would have told myself to seek out extreme mentorship from the beginning and really align with a top producing agent who could teach me how they are running their business. Because when I was brand new and obviously didn't have business yet, I had the luxury of time. And looking back, I wish I had utilized that time much more strategically to set up systems for lead gen that would create more business and an easier business to run. Because what happened was, I spent all this time working, and I was working. I was working open houses. I was working my sphere. I was sending farming letters. I was doing a lot of work to try to get business, but none of it was strategic, and none of it was a system that could easily be repeated and turned on and let run. And so what happened was, by the time I did start getting business, it snowballed so rapidly that then I was too busy to take the time to set up these systems and implement things that would make my life easier. So as a new agent, invest in your systems when you have time before you have business.
I love that you say that. My team and I were reading Atomic Habits over again.
Yes.
And he said, you fall to the level of your systems. You succeed to the level of your systems.
100%.
Right? Systems are everything.
Yes.
Because then you don't have to think about it. You can just rinse and repeat.
Yes.
So that's okay, but it's almost ironic that you say that, because you're like, I wasn't strategic about the things I was doing, but they obviously worked because now you became in a place where you were so busy that you couldn't go back. So where do you think you fostered most of your success?
I think the consistency of looking busy and being busy. I utilize social media to the maximum capacity of how I know how, and that's 100% where my business has come from, to the point where now I also have referrals from other agents in either other markets or other states, or referrals from other clients that I've worked with. But 100% of my business otherwise has come from social media. So I think early on, I was on social media and I was really utilizing
So would you
it.
call that a strategy? Or a system?
Definitely a strategy. I don't know if I'd call it a system though, because it wasn't systematic and it wasn't regular. It wasn't something that I could now pass off to an assistant and say, duplicate what I did, because they'd be like, this looks like a whole lot of crazy. What exactly you don't want me to duplicate?
And so what about now?
So now I'm trying. I'm definitely trying. Back in April, I sought out a real estate coach, and I've been in a coaching program ever since, which definitely has transformed the way I think about my business, the way I view my business, and it's taught me true lead gen systems. Now, where I still struggle is that implementation, because again, I still feel so busy all the time that it's like I get off a coaching call and I'm like, this was amazing, let's go. But I've had my phone on do not disturb for 2 hours and I have 38 text messages, 12 missed calls, and a million DMs. And I'm like, we got to go back to clients and business. So
it sounds like you have the right kind of problems.
I would like to think so, yes.
I think
so now
so.
it's like being better about my time management and
Yes.
prioritization.
Well, I'm being intentional,
Yes.
right? Intentionality. And I think you're falling into the boat that most agents do after they get over that hump, right? After they get over that hump of like, I'm no longer new, business is coming, and now the chaos of time management is a real thing,
Yes,
right? Because there's a
100%.
difference between working in your business and working on your business.
Yes.
So you come out of the coaching call and you're like, that was me working on the business, but now there's no time to implement because you're back to being in it. And that's a tough thing that most face. We have to create a system around that, which is
Yes.
tough, right?
Yes.
It's almost like okay, that was a great call, but where's the implementation time?
Correct.
And when we're not tired, right? Because there's one thing to say that you have time at 8 o'clock at night, but do you have the energy to do it?
Right. Or the mental capacity.
Yeah, and that's the
Yes.
thing. Like, I don't know if you deal, but I fight with that personally all the time of like, well, I have time, but I don't have the energy. And I feel like that's not a conversation we're having enough because we come from this like hustle culture and like grind.
Yes.
But like, how good are you at after you've been running 100 miles an hour for 14 hours? And now you're like, oh, well, I have 2 hours before bed. Like, no, you need time to wind down.
Right. And you need time with your family. You need time off too. And I say this all the time that no one in this world can work every day, all day long, and be successful at it. It's just unrealistic. No one is an energizer bunny like that. So you do have to take time off to re-energize yourself, regroup, reconnect. I think that's so important, especially in this business where, you can get burnt out. If you are working, hustling, you can get burnt out. And I never want that to happen because I do love what I do so much.
Well, I think when you love it helps, right? I think your gas tank is a little bit bigger.
Yes.
When you're loving what you're doing.
Yes.
But let's talk about social media. I want to talk further about that because I know there's so many agents that want to be able to utilize that as a lead gen source. But maybe they're fearful, they're not consistent, they don't have a strategy. What has worked for you? Because I know you've shown up in a fun way on social media. And so just let's talk about that a little bit.
So at the beginning, it was just really about consistency of posting every day or as much as possible, or what I was doing, whether it's I'm posting about going to an open house, I'm posting obviously just listed, just sold, things of that nature. But what I've learned through my coaching is how you set up your Instagram or all your social media so that people can find you. They know who you are, they know what you're doing, and really thinking about the content you're putting out there. What is the brand? What is your message? I open all of my videos with something that I kind of coin as like my catchphrase. It's a great day in the Tampa Bay, because that's what I'm selling. We have an amazing lifestyle living here in the Tampa Bay. And, more often than not, even if it's a down day, you're having a bad day, well, it's actually a great day because you live here. And so I've tried to strategically alternate between reels and photo carousels. So photo carousels being the pictures you scroll through, and I try to make it of properties because that's what people love. We call it property porn. They want to see houses, whether it's high price, low price. People love to see houses. It's just that's why there's shows like Selling Sunset and all the other ones.
The whole HGTV network.
Exactly. People love houses. And then in my reels, that's where I give property tours. And I try to make them fun. I try to make them informational, but I try to make them truly authentic.
Well, you're not trying, Alex. I just want to help you there. Like, you're doing it. Like, your personality comes out and you show you're authentic. And that is that's a part of your brand. Like,
Yes.
people know who they're working with.
Yes.
Through your video. You show up in an awesome way.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So you're doing carousels, you're doing reels, and you're doing it consistently. So you're saying every day you post.
So up until the hurricane, yes.
Yeah, but fair.
Basically, I would alternate reels and photo carousels, with the exception of I would do that Monday through Friday. Usually on weekends, I would not. If I was posting on the weekends, it's something on my story about showing houses on Saturdays or going to open houses, things of that nature, or something for my personal life. Because my Instagram, I only have one account. I don't have a business account. And real estate is my life. So I throw in dinners, food. I'm a huge foodie. I love phone eats first. I'm always taking a picture of the food at the restaurant. So I'll throw in pictures of that on the weekends and stuff like that. But
that's good. So
really
you're
trying to
living.
be consistent about every day, Monday through Friday posting.
I love in the beginning when I opened up this conversation, you said when you were early on, you tried to make it look like you were busy on social. And I would argue that you doing social media is working.
True.
Right. And so perception is reality, just maybe because you didn't have the deals under contract yet, but you were prepping and planting seeds for them to be in the future.
Correct.
And I want to highlight that because people feel like, well, that's the way I would need to work. I need to do that is working.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Like perception is reality.
And I guess you're 100% correct in that. And like everything I was posting, I was working. I was working the open house. I was doing video marketing. They might not have been my listings, but I was working them in it as if they were. And I think that's really what set me apart from other new agents is anytime I had an opportunity from another agent, I treated it like it was my business because that's how I learn. I'm a hands-on learner. Like I have to do it myself because that's where I learned what worked for me, what didn't work for me. And I had a couple mentors at the beginning of the business who really gave me those opportunities of, hey, I've got this listing. I need you to help, like take it and run with it. And so that's what I utilized. And that's what eventually led to my sphere reaching out of, you look like you're killing it. I'd love your help. And rest is history.
Have you, because you talked about the corporate world before, have you always had this growth mindset? Because you've done things like going and hiring a coach. I battle with agents sometimes over that conversation because I don't always see the value. So I think it's a mindset thing. So where did you shape that mindset?
I think it's just inherently in my DNA and who I am as a person. I'm a Capricorn. I'm naturally very ambitious, goal-oriented, climb, climb, climb. So back when I was in college, I had studied a number of things because I changed my major 4 times. Didn't really know what I wanted to do because my whole life growing up, I thought I wanted to be an architect. I always loved homes and design of homes till I got to architecture school. And it was all computer-based, all CAD design. And I knew then, as an 18-year-old, I was not going to like a career in which I was sitting at a desk in front of a computer. So funny enough, I ended up getting a degree in fashion merchandising, moved to New York, was working in corporate retail. And at that point, I thought I had my dream job. I was working in design. I worked for Macy's. It was an incredible environment to be around. I loved everybody I worked with. And all I had my eyes set on was I wanted to be Molly Langenstein, chief merchandising officer of a Fortune 500 company that was doing 42 billion in sales. Like that's what I wanted. Head honcho, basically Devil Wears Prada. So how do I get to there? But it wasn't until I had, made a couple company switches, worked for other retailers, and tried a number of different things. And I always had this sense of, I've tried design, I've tried merchandising, I worked in buying, I worked in planning, and I was never happy. Like I could enjoy my job and I'd be good at my job, and I would excel and want to grow, but I wasn't happy. I didn't feel fulfilled. And that's the biggest difference between when I was in corporate and now in real estate, where it's a double-edged sword because I love it so much. You mentioned earlier, it's hard to turn it off now because the thrill of working with people, helping them find their house, helping them sell their house, connecting with other people. I love everything about it.
So you mentioned that you had this vision. Well, you're in the fashion world of chief merchants. What was it?
Chief merchandising officer, CMO.
CMO. Okay. Where's the benchmark now? Like, who are you, or what are you looking up to? That's keeping that driving force to know that you can inspire to do more.
Definitely. I would say the drive is still there. Now the position has changed.
Right.
So instead of shooting for chief merchandising officer, it's,
Oh.
team leader of a large team, or potentially, maybe does that mean a brokerage? I don't know. Because
I asked that strategically because I know, like, if you were a visionary, you're always looking at, like, that's where I'm looking to go. I know you have to have it somewhere in you now,
Yes.
right? Because that's the driving force. Like, you're not just blasting your career into no man's land. Like, I'm sure you have a vision.
Oh, 100%. If I could emulate anyone, it'd be my real estate coach. Shout out Tatiana Londano. She's amazing and incredible and inspires me every day. I want to be her. Like, the business she's built, the team she runs, it's exactly what I now envision for myself. And it's like, okay, so I'm doing these things. How do I get to there? I'm going to follow and do everything she does because it's worked for her. And that's the beauty about real estate is it is a copy and paste business. If you implement the systems and put the systems into place, you can soar. The only thing that's different is the person, or like you as the agent, me as the agent, because we have different personalities. We say things different. We have different energy. I came from retail, so I love selling. And so the way I show a home or do an open house is very, very different from other agents I've met because I love selling. I'll point out the details of, Carrara marble or this hone tile that came from Italy, where someone else would be like, there's beautiful tile floors. No. I want to know what kind of tile, where it's from, and how much it was, because that's how I sell.
Well, and that's a level of luxury.
Yes.
As you learn luxury real estate, those finer details matter, right? Because
But also, not even in luxury. So, for example, I just listed my first manufactured home. Obviously, it is a much lower price point. It's $160,000, built in 1976. And it doesn't have any of the quote unquote luxury things you would point out, but that is something I focus on in my business is I don't care the property, the price point, I sell it all the same. I will find out every detail about that property of knowing the room dimensions, the location in the community, proximity to shopping, everything that this is unique about this property. That's what I memorize and learn and sell to
Well,
anybody I meet.
Alex, that's because how you do one thing is how you do everything,
True.
right? And so for you, you're going to be able to break into the luxury market because that market cares about those finer details. Doesn't mean that the lower market does not. But when you get into the upper echelon of selling a $5 million house, they want to know that you know what type of marble is in there and where it's from because those details matter,
Yes.
right? And so you practicing it consistently is just a measure of why you're succeeding the way that you are.
Yes.
Because to you, it doesn't matter, right? You're like, that's just how I operate.
Yes.
Which means you won't have to change anything you do, no matter what it is that you're selling, which is beautiful. I think there's a big lesson to be learned in that the details matter.
Absolutely. And to your point, maybe that's what I am setting myself up so that when I get my foot into that door of that $5 million listing, it's going to be like, oh, I was meant to be here.
Yes. I mean, because your detail list is going to be so long.
Yes.
No, you're already going there. You're already going. I already see it. Like it's incredible. It's fun to catch you now. And I'm grateful to know where you are in your journey now see where you're going to be in another 27 months from now.
Yes.
Right, and see what that does because I think it's just compounding for you because I don't see you stopping. So, what does a real estate team mean for you? Because some agents say, I'm not interested in team. I just want to be a single agent. And now here you are. I want a team. I want this next thing. So why?
Because what I've learned and what I've witnessed in this business is to exponentially grow, to hit $1 million a year GCI, which for people listening means gross commission income. And that's what I want. That is where my eyes are fixated on, and I will not stop till I get there. In order to do so, you have to have a team because it's economies of scale. I, as one person, while I might try to do everything now, realistically, I can't. When you have 100 transactions going on to get to that level, you need support. And that starts with admin. So that's where I am right now. I am actively setting myself up to be able to hire a full-time admin or personal assistant to help for me to delegate tasks that I should not be focusing on now that I need a full-time employee doing so I can spend more of my time on lead gen, finding those clients, building the business. And then the next step is that buyer's agent and a listing specialist. And then it continually grows as you hit these benchmarks in your GCI to get to that point of doing multi-million dollars a year.
Can I challenge you a little bit on the GCI?
Yes.
Not only do you want the gross, how about the net?
The net.
The big thing that I'm shifting is a profit.
I love that because that's actually how I operate and think. But I had to be trained opposite because everyone else in the industry is always talking GCI.
That's neat. But
whereas I'm the opposite.
If you did $1 million in GCI, but your expenses was 1.1,
right?
You lost 100,000.
Exactly.
Doing a lot of work. So I'm shifting all gears to that's neat that you want to do $1 million in GCI. How much profit do you want to make out of that?
Yeah,
right. And so if we net and if we follow the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the MREA, it's think $1 million. What's the whole thing? I'm gonna botch it right now live on the thing. It's okay, but the last one is net $1 million, and then it's give $1 million.
I like that. I want to net $1 million. Absolutely.
It's different. It's because now you have to operate in a whole different way.
Absolutely.
And so I'm shifting all agents to start thinking that way because most agents are not operating businesses.
Correct. I think most agents.
You are.
I'm trying, or I am.
You are.
I am. Yes. I think most people treat this as a high-paying job.
And while you're talking, I don't mean to be rude, but I want to look up that whole thing because I cannot not say the whole triangle.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think you're correct. I think most agents in the industry, not even just in our market, treat real estate as a high-paid job. Or so many of them, especially in our market, as I'm sure you know, they treat it as a side hustle. Like, oh, I'm just going to get my license. I'm going to sell one house. I'll sell it to my friends or family, which is you know what? To each their own. I'm not going to
Well,
speak.
that's some reason they get into it.
Right.
They only want to sell 5 houses a year because that's the lifestyle they want to live, and that's it. And they love all the time and freedom that they get, and that's awesome. If that helps you sleep good at night, amazing.
Absolutely.
Some people can't run at the speed that you're running, right? And that's okay.
Right. Right. Nor do they have the desire to, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Where I have a conflict with it is just in terms of the customer and the level of service and expertise that they're receiving. If you're only ever selling one house a year, you don't really have transactional knowledge or market knowledge to give that customer the best customer service they deserve. So when it comes to the listing side, for example, you're helping someone sell their home, usually their largest asset. I consider myself a wealth advisor because I'm advising my clients on how to maximize their profits when selling a property, how to make a smart investment when buying property. And that's the drastic difference versus someone who just puts your house on the MLS and throws a sign in the yard.
Advisor is the key word there, folks. If you haven't heard that, advisor. Like people who think like, oh, sometimes there's a negative perception that agents are like used car salesmen. And you know what? I think those who aren't really in the business maybe come off that way. But to your point, if I tell everyone you need to be an advisor to help them make decisions, you're not selling them anything.
Correct.
Right? Like we don't own our product. We're just advising against it. So Alex, you're remarkable and you're saying all the right things. To bring it back, because it's think $1 million, earn $1 million, which would be your GCA, net $1 million, then it's receive $1 million. Because if you're building a whole team, you want to get to a spot where you put all your people in place where you didn't have to do anything and you receive it. And then you get to a place in life where you can give away $1 million.
Yes.
Right? So
That would be incredible.
You're on your way, sir.
Yes.
You're on your way. I love that. I love the way you're thinking about it. You're showing up in such a big way. And I think it's fun. Have you reflected on how your past experiences, I always like to go down that road, have all led up to this? Like you being in the merchandising world and selling in that, like that customer service that you had to give translates beautifully into real estate.
100%. Absolutely.
Do you teach classes?
Do I teach classes?
Yeah.
I have not yet, but I actually am working on my first class as we speak.
What would you teach?
It is going to be Pitch Like a Pro, and it's a class on how to present your listings and properties to other agents, other people. It's kind of like a selling class a little bit, and it's going to be in January. I'll keep you posted on the dates and location. It's going to be sponsored by a title company, home inspection company, and it's open to anybody who wants to come, any level of agent, anybody. We want to have a good turnout, but it's going to teach people basically how I sell my properties and how I pitch them to other people. So that'll be my first class.
Incredible. I want to attend that, so make sure stay in the loop on that for sure.
Definitely.
Tell me, we encounter so many people and fun stories pop up. Can you share maybe a fun showing or any fun, unique experience that you've had while being in the industry for 27 months?
Yes. When you get into the industry and once you start working, I think we live in a bubble, a real estate bubble of we start speaking in acronyms and terms, and we just start to have all these assumptions that we think are common knowledge. So I constantly have to remind myself that common knowledge is not common. And I have to, not because I think people are stupid, but I just have to assume that clients know nothing.
If I'm going to make one assumption, it's that one.
Yes. I was showing a property one time that was not staged. So this is a testament to the power of staging. But being someone who loves architecture, loves floor plans, and just loves houses, and I've been in a number, I feel like I understand houses even if they're empty. So we're walking through this house and we're standing in the dining room and the buyer's like, I just can't figure out what this room is. And I was like, what? I was like, it's a dining room. And she was like, how do you know? I'm like, chandelier, kitchen, like, what do you think it is? It's not a library. Like, it was just hysterical for me because the property was vacant. There was not furniture. She could not visualize what was the purpose of this room. And in that moment, I already was under the thought process of I want to stage all my own listings, especially if they're vacant, because it just helps people visualize. Most people are not visual. And that day I learned if I have a vacant listing, it needs to be staged
Right.
because I don't want anyone to ever wonder what a room is.
Well, that's, I mean, I can't remember the percentages, but it's very high of what staging does in terms of getting more money.
Absolutely. I think it
quickness of
sells
selling.
like 80% faster
yes.
for like 24% more money.
That's yes, you're nailing it. I didn't want to botch the numbers, but yeah, because not everyone is visual, right? And so yeah, that's crazy.
And that's also why anytime you have a primary bedroom that can hold a king size bed, you should put a king size bed in it, because that'll be the number one question you get from a buyer.
What size bed is this?
What size bed is this? Can I fit a king in here? Put a king in there.
Put a king.
And put a sign on it that says this is a king.
Little yes, absolutely. It's very important. It's very important. You know, yeah, gotta have a king bed. If it doesn't fit, can't get that house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or I guess the number of times that this actually happened just on Thursday. You set up a showing's confirmed. You're taking buyers out to see 8 houses. You show up to a house, you walk in, and there is someone there, and they are naked.
I've never had this happen.
This has literally happened to me like 3 times. To the point where it's...
Okay, so this is owner occupied.
This one was supposed to be vacant. That's the craziest part of it. And so I called the agent and was like, house is not vacant. Someone's there. And they did not know there was a showing. So
you walked in.
We walked in.
Knock, knock. Hello.
We knocked on the door. No one answered. We walk into the house.
Alex,
again.
hold on, time out. You started this off with the dining room thing. This is the good one. Come on.
Another time.
Yeah.
But we walk into the house and there were shoes on the ground. There was a blanket on the couch. Immediately, I'm like,
Squatter?
This house is not vacant. They weren't a squatter. They do live there. The listing agent was under the impression they had already moved out. They had not fully moved out.
Well, that
yet.
just goes to the level of...
The funniest part about this, though, is we're in a massive development plan community, houses right on top of each other. So we walk in. I'm asking, like, calling out, hello, anybody home? No one responds. As we're about to walk into the living room, the sliding glass door opens and the person walks inside who is naked. So
they were outside?
Out in the backyard chilling. And
what time of day is this?
we were just like, oh my God, this was like 11 a.m. on a Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there a pool?
No.
Okay.
I think they're just tanning, maybe. I don't know. Having their morning coffee? I don't know. We did not stay long enough to figure it out.
You're like,
I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We will come back. We had a showing. I'll call your agent. And the agent was just like, oh yeah, I don't know. Just clueless.
So that was one of 3 times this has happened to you?
One of 3 times, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I've heard of this. I just haven't experienced it yet, which is, I'm glad.
Yeah. I'm like a little traumatized.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. All right. Well, see, that's my point. Weird things happen.
Yes, absolutely. Expect the unexpected.
Absolutely. Sure. I've never, I haven't had that. I did have a listing get broken into once in Tampa. And did the same thing, walked inside. It was staged, and there was like someone's bag on the table, on the couch, some stuff. The shower was wet, and the stage towel was used. And I was like, oh man, what's going on? And then I got to the back bedroom, and the door was locked. And I'm like, oh man,
oh no,
they're still in here. Well, I jimmied the door and opened. Like I knocked, I didn't hear anything. I was listening because heart's pounding. Like, oh come on, and I don't know, made the brave person inside of me opened that door, and they had thrown a rock through the back. This was a brand new renovated home.
Oh no!
They threw a rock through the back window and did unlock the door, and then took a shower and hung out. Yeah, so that was a bizarre thing to.
You're braver than I. I would have gotten the Hornet spray immediately and left.
Yeah, well, I was just looking at clues and really listening, and I didn't hear any movement. Because I knew, like, at that point, like, if I would have banging on that door and said, like, I would have heard, like something.
Some type. Yes.
So there was a moment of, like, yeah, maybe it wasn't the smartest thing. But to your point, like, you never know.
Yeah.
Even that was my own listing. Like, I knew, like, I'm like, someone's stuff should not be here.
Yeah.
I've
also gone into a listing before where a kid was home alone, like eating cereal, watching Saturday morning cartoons. That was probably the most uncomfortable for me because it was a kid and they were alone.
Yeah.
And so my buyers and I, we were like, oh my God, like, this is weird. Like, I don't feel comfortable. Like, we should not be here. But I called the agent and they were like, oh no, you're fine. Like, the guy just left for a minute, but like, she's a really sweet kid. Just walk around her. red flags galore. I was
Yeah.
like, this
I guess
should
they
not
didn't
be
buy that house, did
happening.
they?
No, no, which was a shame because it was actually a beautiful house, but other things
Yeah.
were weird. Not just that,
Right.
but
But yeah, but everything kind of lines up. Okay, so you mentioned being a foodie.
hmm
Top places in St. Pete that you like to eat.
I love Alelo on Beach Drive.
Great,
Absolutely incredible.
great
I
spot.
think that was like one of, I shouldn't say the first place. First place I've had Hamachi Crudo was in Pont in Tampa. Amazing. But theirs at Alelo is equally amazing. Also, they're like a virgin cocktail, looks like psychedelic 70s wallpaper, and is delicious. First cocktail I ever had that had olive oil in it.
Mm,
Key, key ingredient
really?
in a good cocktail. It makes it ultra silky and smooth,
And
but
it's a non-alcoholic.
no, it's a cocktail. It
Oh,
has like I think it's a
oh, but
gin based,
okay.
but
Well, you
there's
said virgin, so I thought,
oh, that's just the name of the cocktail.
got it,
Like a virgin is
got
the
it, got it,
cocktail.
got it, got it,
Sorry,
got it.
sorry.
Yeah, no.
I also love Il Ritorno, incredible,
Hmm.
incredible restaurant. Baba, if you love Mediterranean or
Yep.
Greek food, love that. I mean, there's just
There's
so
so
many.
many.
We're so lucky to live in a city that has the culinary eye that the Tampa Bay has.
Hmm.
I tell people all the time, we live in a city that has the benefits of a big city in terms of incredible dining, incredible museums and art galleries and so many things to do. But the conveniences of a small city where you can still drive and park downtown and, it's not insane
Yeah,
traffic all the time. Granted, we're kind of getting there.
we're getting there.
And then obviously our world-renowned beaches that we just live in a really, really incredible little
Yeah,
bubble.
and now the beaches need to be rebuilt,
Yes, yes,
like
absolutely.
big time.
hmm Which, if you are looking for volunteer opportunities, there are multiple websites that you can go to. St. Pete Beach website, Pinellas County website, Clean Up St. Pete. These are all amazing
Hmm.
organizations that, if you want to get involved, I highly recommend you
I'm
do.
glad you bring that up, and we definitely need to highlight that as a real team because it's been a few weeks now since the storms have passed, and the media will move on,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
and people will become forgotten about, and
hmm
it's not over. It will not be over
Correct.
for years to come, right?
hmm
So many things will still need help, and it will take a while to recover from this.
Absolutely.
However, I believe and know that we will.
Yes.
We're resilient as a community. We'll come back. Bigger, better, stronger because of it. But
Yes.
I'm just
agree.
glad you brought that up because it's already like been thinking about, okay, how can we help these people around Thanksgiving time when no
hmm
one's thinking about them because it's
hmm
out of sight, out of mind, right?
hmm
Yeah, crazy, 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 crazy. What else? So what else is when you're not doing real estate? I know you love real estate so much, Alex,
Yes.
but how else do you like to spend your time? How do you decompress?
I love every single night I sit on my lanai. I am a plant daddy, if you will. Got a lot of plants, so that's when I sit out there, I water them. I just like enjoy that's my one time that I leave my phone inside and I sit out there and just chill, kind of recenter. That's where I get a lot of my ideas for my business, things I want to implement, things I want to try. So I love hanging out just outdoors because it's screened in away from the bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Before the storms, I'm a huge beach person. Anytime I want to go to the beach, I want to see a beach sunset
Mm-hmm.
or going to the pool. Like I live in a community, we've got a gorgeous pool, hot tub. Pretty sure I'm the only person who uses it, but I
Fantastic.
use it like it's my own.
Right.
Pretty much anything outside, which is why I love living here so much as well.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you do well at grounding yourself to create space for thought, which is something that I like to explore because when you're running all the time, you don't have space to think.
hmm
And so it's good. I like to hear, and it doesn't surprise me that you take this space to ground yourself and let ideas come. Even because you're working without working.
hmm
Like I think that's a different sense of like doing a task
hmm
versus just letting the day come to you and oh, I had this thing, and if I put this over here and this over here, then
hmm
it,
And
it's
it's really where I flesh out ideas too, because again, I'm glued to my phone, very much to a detriment. Whenever, like, it never leaves my hand,
Mhm.
and it's always in my mind, work, 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 work. So taking that time to just sit outside and really like flesh out ideas and kind of play out scenarios in my head and really think in bigger picture where I want my business to go, things I want to focus on. That's where, it's that one quiet time where I don't have distractions. It's just me, the plants, hanging out, being quiet and thinking and really strategizing.
And you're intentional about it,
Yes.
which is good. I love it. I love it. Alex, I feel like we could sit here all day, but speaking of your business and time, I want to be respectful of that. For those that have made it this far into the show, one, I think we could have you back many times. What's one word that they should comment below so that we know that they're still here?
Can it be 2 words?
Sure.
Dining room.
Dining room. Dining room. Yes, it is a dining room if there's a chandelier in it.
Yes.
Amazing.
The
Alex.
kitchen's right there.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, where else would it be? Thank you so much for your inspiration and this great conversation. I know you inspire so many. Many people are watching you, whether you know that or not. And I'm excited to see where you go in the next 27 months.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
I
you.
appreciate being here. Thank you, Ryan.
Yes, of course. If you're still with us, comment dining room below, which I know you are. Share with a friend, tell a friend, like, comment, do all the fun things, subscribe. We appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
That was awesome.